We are continuing the sugya of Bein Adam lechaveroi. Today's sugya is going to be probably a little bit shorter than normal because we're back of time, but the point is I want to start. I think it's important. I believe that this is very similar to what we mentioned in the Hagdama to Donach Avschos, that this is one of the most important ideas in Ben Adam lechaveroi, and often is an offspring of Donach Avschos, and I think we mentioned at the time that if a person is not judging people favorably, often this is going to be the result. And sometimes even without that, unfortunately, we fall into the trap of doing this. So that's why I want to spend a little bit of time today and tomorrow probably discussing this sugya. And that is the sugya of Le'sisna sachicha bilvavecha. It's a pasuk in the Torah, and that basically means do not hate your brother in your heart, which is very interesting how the Torah describes the prohibition and the issa of hating someone. Does not only mean, it also means, but it does not only mean, it's not exclusive to out in the open when you hate someone and you show in a way of speech or whatever it is that you hate the guy. It could be in a very simple way. It's in your heart but no one knows about it. But that's going to be the yesod, okay? Let's begin with the pasuk in Vayikra Yutes, pasuk Yud Zayin. Le'sisna sachicha bilvavecha. Remember, Rabbi Yisrael, this is a pasuk in the Torah. This is a pasuk in the Torah not to hate your brother in your heart. And it continues, we're going to speak about that Be'ezah Hashem a different time. So the Ramban, ala Torah, brings over here, very interesting, there are two ways, says the Ramban, to read this pasuk. Okay? There are two ways to read the pasuk. The first way is, do not hate your brother in your heart, which means that generally people that hate other people do so in their heart. They do not do it in public. They don't show it to other people in a tremendous way. They do it in a way that no one really knows about it, right? And that is a very important thing for a person to remember. That is the first way of understanding the idea, is it should not be in your heart, okay? Now there's another way that we're not going into at this moment of time. There's also a mitzvah to do toichacha, which I said we're not going to do at this moment of time, but that's what it is. Now, Rabbi said we know very famously how the Gemara tells us in the beginning of Masechtas Yuma. The Gemara tells us in Yuma Daf Tes what was one of the reasons, or at least in that time, the reason that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. Now, I don't have to tell you what it means that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. The fact that we don't have a Beis HaMikdash means that, number one, we don't have korbanos, which basically means we don't get a kapara for our aveiros. Now, I don't want to say that's not true. There are other people may also, but I don't want to say you guys because that's not fair to anybody over here because you guys are tzaddikim. But there are people that do aveiros. There are people that do aveiros. Now, what do you meant to do when you do an aveiro? You bring a kapara, you bring a korban to do that. Now, we cannot do that anymore. Can you imagine having a suffix about something in life? So nowadays, you go to your Rebbe, you go to L'God Lador, you go to Das Torah, and 100% we trust at 100%. But could you imagine the clarity of going to the Kohen Gadol, going to the Beis HaMikdash, and having the Urim v'Tumim, right? The breastplate that the Kohen Gadol used to wear, with the 12 stones representing the 12 Shvatim, different colors, it lit up and it illuminated, showing the answer. You literally have HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling you what to do. How many guys would love the Rabbeinu Shalom to write them a note next to their bed and say, Mr. George, this is your tafkid today. This is why I sent you down to the world. That would be great, right? We don't have it. You know why? Because we live in a world of uncertainty. We live in a world of uncertainty. It's a very big shame. We love certainty. Right? Every single one of us likes to go to a shtibel that they're just starting a minyan. Some people like to go where they're just doing Baruch Hu, because then they get it much quicker. But really and truly, you're meant to want to go there. And I want to go there. I don't have to wait around 10 minutes. I don't want to do that. I want to go to a shtibel. Boom, they're starting mincha right now. Nobody wants to wait, right? There's a Sephardi shul in Brooklyn. Maybe you know what it is. It's an amazing shul that they give you a voucher. They give you a voucher for Duggies if you ever come there and there's no minyan at that time. You know what I'm saying? I davened there once. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice. It's amazing. There's always a minion there because everybody wants to get the voucher, right? We should do that in yeshiva. We will give you a voucher for a steak in Rodriguez if there's no minion for Shachris. I guarantee you there'll be a minion. There is anyway, by the way, just people are watching on there. There's a minion every day in yeshiva, Baruch Hashem. But Base David /donate, /donate. Okay, so, where were we? Oh, Beis HaMikdash. So, could you imagine that you had a Beis HaMikdash? You know what it means? Chazal tell us the most amazing things that when they bought the Ketores, the whole Yerushalayim was able to smell the Ketores. Wow, it's amazing. We don't have it. Why don't we have it? Says the Gemara in Yuma Daf Tes, Sinas Chinam. People hated each other. By the way, to translate properly, Sinas Chinam literally means baseless hatred. Chinam means free, for nothing, for no reason, for no purpose. How many people can honestly say, and you don't have to put your hands, how many people can say that they've hated people for no reason? There's no real reason why. The definition of hate, I dislike him, I don't like him, he annoys me, whatever it could be. I hate him, I don't like him, I hate him. I don't have to give a definition of that. It could be very similar, it's borderline, and it can lead to hatred. By the way, we do this on people that have no reason. You know what, you'll go to the guy and say, I know that you really hate this guy. Could you tell me why? I don't know why. I don't even remember what he did to me. But you still hate him. Sinas Chinom destroyed the Beis HaMikdash. We today don't have a Beis HaMikdash with all of our tzoros, and we don't have to look far. There's a lot of tzoros. A lot of tzoros in Klal Yisrael. And if we had a Beis HaMikdash, these things would have been fixed. They would have been repaired. But we don't have a Beis HaMikdash. Why was it destroyed? Sinas Chinom. Says Chazal, every generation that there's no Beis HaMikdash means that we're repeating the same Aveira that it was destroyed. That means we're still doing this. We're obviously still in the same category of Sinas Chaim that will cause the Beis HaMikdash to be destroyed, because if not, then it would have been rebuilt. Boom! So we're dealing with an Aveira over here that's not just a pasuk in the Torah. We're dealing with an Aveira over here that has consequences of destroying the Beis HaMikdash on a daily basis. And how many people in this room can honestly own up and say, this is not negated to me? I don't do these things. I love everyone. Oh, give me a hug. Come on. We love you. Come on, Nick. How many people can honestly say they've never in their life hated anyone for no reason whatsoever? I'm sorry, but I think it affects many of us. We might not realize it. We might not pinpoint it. We might not think it or realize it or say it. But we often do this. Okay? Because if not, the Beis HaMikdash would have been rebuilt. Now, I want to tell you like this. If you hate someone in your heart, that means nobody around the table will ever tell anybody else who I hate, because we do it in our heart. The people that we hate actually will probably, will insult them, will push them down, will say horrible things about them. So, those people, that's worse. You're hating the guy, plus you're insulting him, and that's Dvorim, Shemi Rachim, what you're doing over there. You're mostly being over in every single share that we're giving in this series. But we're talking about a situation where you hate the guy for no reason. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't like his accent. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he looks. I don't know, his eyes bother me. You know how these people that, I've got guys come over to me like, this guy, I can't stand this guy. I can't stand him. What is it? What does he do? I don't know. I hate him. I can't stand him. You have people like that, right? You have people like that. You know what I'm talking about. So every time that happens, you're over on a posuk in the Torah. You're over on an Issa D'Oraisa, on a love of hating someone. It says the Chinuch and Mitzvah Reish Lamed Chesed applies both to males and females. If you have a reason, that doesn't mean it's mutter. You're not over on this love, you're over on Sinas Stam, but Sinas Chaim is a different shayla, okay? The chinuch generally goes through every mitzvah. Maybe one time we'll be zocher to go through the chinuch and share. I would love to go through that with you, because he goes through mitzvah Shem, the article chinuch. Yeah, I know, we're looking for a sponsor. I should tell them. Based on / Okay, so the point is that I would love to go through the chinuch, because the chinuch goes through every mitzvah and tells us how it applies to us. No, the Sefer Chinuch. Right? Minchas Chinuch, Black Sefer has a pirush on that. For example, just to give you one example, by the way, how many guys think that the mitzvah of Gid HaNosha applies to them every single day? The vein, the sinew, when Yaakov had a fight with the Sar Shal Esav. No, it's true, you can't eat. It's true, if you eat a bad hechsha, then you probably get a nosha. Okay, you're right. But let's say that's not the case. Let's leave out the actual Gid HaNosha. But why does the mitzvah of Gid HaNosha really apply to us? You go through the chinuch, it's amazing, you understand it. You got, how many people really know what the mitzvah of Shabbos Kodesh actually is? I don't know. I have a suffix if you know. I have a suffix if you go to chinuch, and really, that was Kedusha Shabbos.
Okay, so that's how
The
you
chinuch, 100%. But the chinuch, it's not for now. I told you, I want to go through it, maybe not right now. The chinuch go through beautiful explanations. So, Eddie, to answer your question, the chinuch explains that some mitzvahs applies only to men and not to women. Right? For example, a mitzvah that's a time-bound mitzvah, right? It's a mitzvah that says man grama, like tefillin, for example. It's a time-bound mitzvah. Dalad minim, for example. Huh?
Females hating each other, that also.
Absolutely awesome. Okay, let's move on. Children of Isai. Okay, in the end of Chelik Gimel, you've got a beautiful simon, Shimon Beis, where he talks about the Indian of chinuch, and he goes through ages of chinuch. It's beautiful, and he talks about how we have to mechanech children. Now, this is a very important thing. By the way, you guys, Be'ezus Hashem, are going to have children, and Be'ita Bisman at the right time, and you should try to do this from day number one, because this often starts when people are kids, and if it's not dealt with properly, then kids understood or they take for granted that it's okay, and that's a problem. The reason for that is because kids come in from Gan and they're like, Moshe took away my toy. So what are you going to do? Here you go, boom. You have an opportunity right now to machanech your children that we don't hate someone. Maybe they took it away. Biton HaChavskos. You have an amazing opportunity, by the way. Biton HaChavskos. Maybe Moshe's having a bad day. Maybe Moshe left the house in a really bad state. Who knows if he slept last night? Maybe his baby sister kept him up. Who knows what the matzav is? And therefore, you have to be done a kavskos. He's having a hard time. Don't hate him. Love him. Maybe he did something wrong. Maybe he did something he should have done. That could be. As they would say, judge the actions, not the person. And therefore, it's a big yisoid. It's yisoid in chinuch. It's yisoid in kiruv. It's yisoid over here also. We don't agree with what you did, but we love you as a person. Right? This is very hard, by the way, for parents to ever do this when they have a child that's going off the derech. It's very, very hard that, you've got to tell the parent, at the end of the day, you have to love your child as a person. You may disagree with what they do, but that's their choice. They're a human being, and if they're over 18, for sure, they're an adult, they can do whatever they want, nothing they can do about it. But at the end of the day, love them as a person. And by the way, it's a great tool when you have roommates, and when you have other people that you're in a circle with that you don't necessarily get on with, and they're doing things that you don't agree with, that are wrong. I'm not talking about things that are right that you don't like. Things that are wrong, they should not be doing them. You know what? Love the person, hate the actions. That's fine. Like it's easy when it's your roommate, it's much harder when it's your son. You guys should never know of such issues. But there are people out there, unfortunately, have to deal with this. You have to know to separate the actions from the person. Okay, so that's a little bit of a hakdama into this sugya. But by children, it's very important as a parent to machanech your children not to hate their friends or their teachers or anyone else. And their teachers may be wrong. Let it be said, their teachers may be doing the wrong thing. In often cases, they are doing the wrong thing. But a parent has to be very careful how you display and portray the message over to the child. Yes, sir? It's a very, very good question. I don't think now this is the time really to answer it. You're asking a very good question. If the teacher's asking one thing and the parent thinks a different way, you have to know what it is. It makes a big difference, obviously, right? They're teaching them something wrong, then obviously you go call up the teacher. But you have to be very careful before you tell your child or portray the message to your child that your teacher is wrong. They'll never be able to take anything from them again. You have to know how to deal with it, but it happens very often, right? I know myself, I'm sometimes very upset with my kids' rebbeim or teachers, and I will call up the rebbeim, and I don't know if any of you have heard, but I have raised my voice on numerous occasions to say, enjoy your Gehenna, because you're not going to get anything more than that. Because unfortunately, sometimes the best interests of the child are not in their minds, and they're looking at, the general public. But you have to know how to deal with it. You have to know what.
I would pay to see that.
Guys in yeshiva saw it. Whoever's in the Dead Sea. I'm not going to go for it now. It was very, very loud. That's all I could say. No, let's go into sugyas of chinuch. No, right now. Rabbi Isai, who started an introduction in the sugya of leisisna sachicha b'vavecha, don't hate people. Tomorrow, be'ezus Hashem, we're going to explain and go through the details of what it means to display and to harbor hatred in your heart, which is a horrible thing, by the way, because you're allowing your friend to live in your heart or in your brain rent-free. Don't allow him to. It's a big thing. Get rid of it, love him, understand him, respect him. We'll talk about it tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. We'll go through some of the details, Be'ez Hashem.